The next time a man tells you a guy is a really nice guy, kept to himself, really shy, he is probably a psycho. A psycho. Like, this brings me right back to this video that went viral the other day. I already did a video on it, but I have some more points. Men do not know their friends. They don't know them. They don't know their neighbors. They don't even know the men in their families very well. They think that just by living next to them and doing things in the same room with them and watching TV together means they know them well. So they'll vouch for them. They'll vouch for them as a good guy when meanwhile they are a rapist, a psycho, or a terrorist who sets LA on fire. God, this story makes me so mad. And I want to give credit to a video I saw. She said that men don't know each other. They just do parallel play. And I can't unsee it. They don't know us. They don't know each other. They do not ask questions. They don't observe. God, the worst character witnesses ever. And when women vouch for men, it's usually because they're a survivor of some horrible stuff from their childhood. And so they think it's normal for a man to beat the crap out of you who really loves you. So they'll vouch for them too, but for different reasons. Although some men vouch for him for those reasons too. Let's talk about this guy, this son of missionaries, shocker, who's also French. Kinda. He's half French, which honestly, the setting fires thing kind of makes sense now. They love to do that here, but not like this. God! Now, anybody who I know in LA was deeply traumatized by this fire. I don't even live in LA anymore. I lived there for a while. Get this out of the way. It's distracting. What are you doing back there? Oh, hi, Mose. I lived there for, I don't know, 3.5, 4 years or whatever. But I was in and out of that area in California for the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 years of my 20s working outdoor ed. I worked with the kids in LA for a really long time. I have a lot of connection to LA, and I wasn't even there. And this fire, this is an act of terrorism. That people died. I know so many people who lost their homes. Like, so just fork you. Oh, why? Because he was angry. He had no friends and he was angry. This is the same as like a mass unaliving. This is the same. Let's just go over what we know so far. So he's the son of missionary. That in itself is a problem. Missionaries, just colonizers. Like, stop going and trying to make people worship your God. Stay out, like, God. Anyway, that's another video. Now, some people thought he was just a really nice guy, but some people were like, he's bratty and excited when challenged. This guy had so many red flags. He was, sounds like he was abusive to his ex-girlfriend. Also his sister, his family. And I'm going to try to link the videos that I saw this, but this woman was talking about one reason why men don't know each other. They do not know how they interact with their family. They don't know how they interact with women and their girlfriends. And they don't pay attention to these really critical things. They don't ask follow-up questions. And that's why so many of them have no idea that their BFFs are basically parallel playing and hanging out and talking about nothing with complete psychos. Now, if you're new here, this is my wheelhouse. I wrote this article for Harper's Bazaar back in 2019, Men Have No Friends and Women Bear the Burden, where I did a reported feature talking about this problem of lonely men, why they're lonely, what they need to do about it, how it impacts us. But what I left out of this article is that they are also going and burning down major cities, okay? This is a crisis. It's not our crisis to solve. They have to solve it. But these lonely, miserable men are only going to get worse, especially because we don't want to date them. And that's why Scott Galloway and all those forkers are like, literally want us to marry and date these men because they're afraid of them. We're just sacrificial lambs. So if things are going to get worse with these dudes before they get better. I do believe they will get better. There's also some interesting points about what? There's also some interesting points. There's so many details in this. He was an Uber driver, DoorDash. Do y'all understand why so many women are terrified of Uber and DoorDash and all that stuff? Although I'm sure he probably would have passed all the background tests. checks or whatever. He literally dropped people. He did a drive the day of the fire. Like, anyway, he lived in the Hollywood neighborhood as an Uber driver. One acquaintance described him as a really nice guy. Although he was embroiled in an ugly legal conflict with a neighbor in his apartment that included accusations of abuse and drug use. Anyway, more on that in a sec. So this man started one of the most destructive fires in California history. To think that it was this lonely loser who was just bored and angry. I think like 20 people died or something. I don't know. The animals, people lost their homes. They lost their memories. And then it hit Altadena, right? Which was like, that whole area was an area where Black families could not, like, moved because of all of the racism and the redlining and all of the things that had been happening in other parts of the city and other cities. Gone. For a lot of people, God. Imagine doing this just after midnight on January 1st. You know what? Happy freaking New Year, everybody. Like, this loser probably had nothing to do on New Year's and was like, "Ferk it. If I'm alone, all y'all are going to suffer." He repeatedly listened to a French rap song that had imagery of burning buildings or whatever. There's all this stuff about the AI images and that he had, like, the guy was obsessed, okay? They still don't know his motive, but guess I can tell you what his motive is. Entitlement, male rage, white man syndrome. Like, all of this is just this white male entitlement. Okay, so here he has roots in Florida, Hollywood, Pacific Palisades, in the south of France. Interesting combo. And what were they doing in France? Missionary work, of all things. So you know he's got a fucked up family if they're doing this. I'm sorry. Chances are very high. They are super fucked up. They interviewed a lot of his neighbors. There's one woman who didn't give her name, and she just said he kept to himself. That's all she knew. Honestly, I don't blame her. She probably was just like, I don't mess with you. You don't mess with me. I don't, like, women don't tend to engage with neighbors like weird men. But Peter Chang, who lived in the same apartment building for 4 years, instantly recognized him in the photos and recalled him as a quiet and shy. He said that that dude lived there for 2 of the years. He was shocked by the news of his arrest, of course, because men are always so shocked. He was actually a really nice guy. Then he said, who added that he only spoke to what's his butt in the hallway or when the two men rode the elevator in the 3-story complex. You never spoke to him outside of an elevator or in a hallway. Hey! And you just immediately assume he's a really nice guy because y'all give men the benefit of the doubt and assume because what? They say hi? They're nice. Y'all don't know men. You don't know men because you don't talk to men. I mean, you do know, you're scared of them too. But you don't know men the way we know men. And so, of course, you don't believe us when we're like, that guy's sketchy. That guy seems dangerous. There's something off about that guy. My intuition isn't, something's weird or whatever. And then you're like, oh, come on, he's a really nice guy. No, Peter! He described the neighbor as soft-spoken and introverted. And he says he remembers him because he had a distinct numerical entry door lock, whereas everyone else in the unit had a keyed lock system. Yeah, sounds like you knew him really well. He stood out because he's got a different lock. And then y'all said, like, sup in the elevator. He's a really nice guy, though. I'm shocked. Whereas women would probably see a guy like this and be like, minding my business. Look at this. A former roommate of his who lived with him and another roommate of about 2 years in Palisades said he didn't believe it. And look at this. He didn't believe that this guy was the kind of person who would commit arson. What do you think a person who commits arson looks like? At this point, I assume, in the U.S. at least, that any men who would give me a weird vibe would shoot up a school or do this. Minimum. I don't give benefits of the doubt anymore, especially to weird loner white men. Because let's be clear, it's not always white men, but it is almost always white men doing this. We have a white male entitlement problem, a white woman entitlement problem too, but a white male entitlement violent problem because women are pulling back and they're scared. We don't want to deal with these men. I can only tell you that Jonathan I know would never do anything like that. I honestly can't believe any of them went on the record saying this, because to me, it just shows poor judgment. I'm not saying that we know that men have, they put on a mask, they can do but what I am saying is that this, I don't think you ever really knew this person, and you probably dismissed things that a woman, at least one who doesn't normalize it in her head because of her own trauma or ignorance about men's violence, would have noticed. It would have been like, which is again why men don't believe us when we try to warn them about their friends. So that's smart. You spoke under being not anonymous, because I would hate to have this statement out there about me. Wait, he's such a good guy. I can't believe it. Because look, he says, yet the roommate who stopped living with this dude in 2020, he would sometimes just start talking fast and get bratty with people who confronted him. But he wouldn't get violent, He would maybe just go smoke pot and go to sleep. Let me tell you something about that. I worked with so many men when I was a raft guide who were so cool and chill and hippie when they were high, which they were while they were rafting, okay? Their guides were high often. So chill, not always high, but they are different people when they're not high. I hated being around them when they weren't. If they came to work and they were not high, I was like, can you go smoke or something? My ex, that hobo I dated, he smoked all the time. And when he didn't smoke, as much as I was against him spending all his money on that, I actually started making sure he had enough money to buy that. Because that is how he emotionally regulated, was through escapism and substances, like so many men who have problems they will not deal with. But any woman who sees a man who gets bratty when he's challenged, that is an immediate red flag. What does bratty mean? What does that look like to you? Because to me, that seems like entitlement and a quiet rage deep down, which he would go smoke pot. And even his crime is it's super violence, but in this more passive way, right? So maybe this is the guy who'd be like, boom, boom, boom. But this is just as bad. Look what it did. Look how many people died. This is school shooter level stuff. The only difference is it wasn't just kids and teachers. The roommate said detectives told him that this dude, I don't want to say his name. I don't even care. I don't like practicing saying his name because I don't want to know his name. It's all famous now. The detectives told him that the dude was not cooperating with the investigation, but that didn't mean he was guilty of starting the fire. Great. So you still think he's not capable of it. I mean, okay, he wasn't cooperating. He was kind of a brat who'd get real mad when he didn't get his way or was challenged, and then he goes smoke and sulk in his room and get high. And he won't cooperate with the authorities, but why would you think he's guilty? God. I think part of this is a lot of times men like this, they probably had dads who are terrible. Maybe moms, who knows? But a parent who was like this, but oftentimes it's their daddy. So they're like, I don't know, he's a good guy. My dad's a good guy. Beats the shit out of me all the time, but he loves me. Yeah, women do this too. Look, he goes on. Oh my God, I forgot he said more. I also can believe he pissed these investigators off by not cooperating, the former roommate said. He was just being a bratty kid. There it is. There it is, a 29-year-old man. A 29-year-old man, and they always do this. He's just a kid. If this man was black, they would not use kid. I promise you, this is how, not just the media, but how, I don't know this person's race or ethnicity or anything, but this is how we frame white men in the media when they do horrific things. You know, he's just a lonely kid. Just a boy. Meanwhile, actual children, actual black children, they will adultify because they are never presumed innocent. Whereas white men are always presumed innocent. And by doing this, whenever they do anything wrong, you know, when white women, we do anything wrong, we just cry and we're like, ah, 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 ah. And then men do it too. Oh, it's just a boy, I didn't know. So, and you know, he's probably just being a bratty kid about this, and this is something you just can't ignore. So, you know, they had to bring him in. They had to bring him in because, like, just trying to be thorough. Bro, I think whoever you are, you need some serious counseling. And also you need to understand patriarchal violence and patriarchy and all this stuff, whatever. In the fall of 2018, before he lived in Hollywood, he and a girlfriend used Airbnb to rent a room in the San Fernando Valley home, according to a landlord. And I don't blame this landlord wanting to be anonymous here because they had more to say. The landlord said that he appeared very intelligent and told her, okay, see, this is a woman. So, of course, the woman oftentimes has a much better read on men than men do. He told her that he had family in France and that he considered himself a Frenchman. What? Are you pissed that you can't go back? You know what? Is this, like, besides being lonely, all that stuff, are you mad? Like, why are you in the U.S.? And he has French citizenship. You're driving for Uber. You got probably no health insurance, struggling in L.A., where back home at least you would be okay. Here in France, I don't know what this, oh God. He works part-time as a waiter. Look at this. As the weeks wore on, however, the landlord grew concerned. She overheard him speaking to his girlfriend and said he was disrespectful, even cruel. Cruel. So, sounds like he was verbally abusive or emotionally. She suspected that he was using illicit substances and that he was damaging her home's walls and window blinds. This guy has no respect for anything. People, property, whatever. So it all checks out. She said sometimes she would overhear the girlfriend crying. Okay, this has to be happening pretty loud for her to overhear this, usually, unless these are thin walls. Or saying that her family wanted her to leave him and fly back home. Must have been bad. Sounds like he was probably abusive. That checks out. The shooters, the mass unalivers, if you're doing it by pew pew or by fire, they all have the same profile: entitled white men who hate women. They're usually racist too. Transphobic, homophobic, all of it. But they always hate women. They rarely don't hate women. And again, here's that entitled brat coming out here. He disregarded all the rules. If I said don't do this, he'd be very upset and talk back to me. Again, entitlement. Entitlement. Male entitlement. I called Airbnb and kicked him out. At one point, she threatened to call police, and then he and his girlfriend soon left. The landlord said it cost her about $2,000 to repair the damages to the apartment. So what was he doing? Probably throwing shit at his girlfriend. Or just damaging it as a big This guy has major you vibe, which means he was probably miserable because happy people don't do this, right? But instead of actually dealing with the root cause of their misery, they make all of us pay by picking off random people or burning a whole city. If they can't do it, I wouldn't be surprised if he did this because she left him. Because once they don't have a woman to beat up or, bully, then they're going to bully the public. Apparently, this guy was also involved in a pair of civil lawsuits. One involved a car crash that occurred while he drove for DoorDash. He also sued a neighbor, but it was dismissed when he didn't show up in the court. From another apartment Two residents from the neighborhood where he lived said they remember seeing him, but said they could recall nothing remarkable or memorable. I would hate someone to ever describe me that way. That's why I'm laughing. Nothing remarkable or memorable. Clearly, just other than being full of hate, but I guess he hid that. But of course, they were shocked. So what's this deal's dude? His mother, Jennifer, is originally from Florida. Oh, so we got Florida woman behind. I feel like I can make Florida jokes because I have family in Florida. I go there a lot. I was just there. It's a crazy state. His father, Joel, is a French citizen, and the couple live in France. I have been trying to find something on these people here because I live in France. If you didn't know that, I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I did. Can't find anything. They are very private here. It's hard to find information here, which I usually really appreciate. But I'm dying to know about these people. So this pastor they were interviewing that knew them, he met the family during their travels across the country as a missionary. Again, I don't know anything about their religion. That's probably a whole nother video we'll find out. They would visit every 4 years as one of their main stops. He said he first met the parents in 1995 before the kid was even born. And that was the last time he saw him. Great character witness. He described them as an average teenager whose favorite soccer team was Olympique Marseille. Okay, great. Well, you know him really well. Okay. Also, the fans of this team have a terrible reputation. Oh God! Like the fans, like the diehard fans of this team, make it so people can't even watch the game because whatever. But this is not just in Marseille; it's all over. But they have a particular reputation. So I wonder if he was one of the guys who was like, bleh. All right, now I want to get into some other stuff because his relationship with his sister. But just a couple more things before I get to that. So I was wrong. It's not 20 people. 30 people. 30 people died. 17,000 homes and buildings burned because this man was angry and a brat. He showed up in court, shorts, t-shirt, shackles, was soft-spoken. Just a little boy, oopsie, I burned the city down. Now, this guy not only lit the fire, but he came back to watch it burn. Of course he did. Went back up to watch them fight the fire. Now, my understanding is that he started this fire on New Year's Eve, and then they put it out. But I used to teach fire to kids in California from LA. I used to teach about fires, and I also dated a hotshot, one of the wilderness firefighters who were like go all over. So I know a lot about fires. I don't fork with fires. They are terrifying, and even if you put it out, like my understanding is that they put this fire out, but because those winds, the Santa Ana winds, mixed with it wasn't completely out, like whatever. I don't want to go into. There may have been some sort of error there, like them thinking it was too late, but this dude still is responsible. He even faked. He called the 911. He thought it after he did it, and he's like, oh shit, maybe I'll get in trouble for this. So he made some, calls to 911, basically trying to create an alibi for himself, not to actually help anybody. He lied about his location. When he gave more information about the fire to investigators, the information that nobody should have known. So, sorry, buddy, you're a little too cocky. You are why you got caught. And they realized when they looked his ChatGPT, please stop using ChatGPT, please. It's killing our planet, and you will not have any drinking water. I can't stress that enough. OpenAI, all this stuff. I'm going to throw that in everywhere I can. In the air, too. You don't want to breathe. You don't want to drink water. Keep using that stuff unnecessarily. Sometimes, whatever. But anyway, he asked ChatGPT about cigarette. Like, this guy, oh my God. Anyway, just to explain why the fire did again, it was a holdover fire. It was hard to detect. So this is his fault. Okay? This is his fault, even though it happened a week later. Now look at this. So he was threatening and probably abusive towards his ex-girlfriend, or I don't know if it's his ex, I'm assuming an ex. Threatened to burn his sister's house down. The alleged firebug. Can you not use language like that? Firebug. I wish we would call him a terrorist, because that's what this was. This was terrorism. whatever. Threatened to burn his sister's house and shoot his brother-in-law with a pew-pew hidden in a stuffed animal. The threats concerned his family so much that they moved out of the house to get away from him and reported him to the police. So that's probably why he got caught, was because his family turned him in. Back to what I was saying, men do not know other men, okay? Even their friends. And they'll call each other their friend for what? Saying hi in the elevator? This is why in that video, I'm going to link it, talks about how they don't know how these men behave when they're broken up with. They don't know how they behave with female friends or with women strangers on the bus, at a restaurant, at a nightclub. Maybe some of them actually do know that. They do know. But they don't know how awful they are to their family, that their family doesn't want to have anything to do with them sometimes. These men don't know each other. And then they will go on the record in the LA Times. But even to you, when you're like, hey, your friend, is he? Yeah, he's a great guy. You should date him. Like, God. So all this came out during the federal court hearing in Orlando. Shackled and wearing red jail clothes, looked on during the testimony as his brother and sister sat in the courtroom gallery. One of the sisters began crying when the judge said that he would be kept behind bars. I'm hoping she is crying of relief. And also, it is hard to come to terms with your family member, whether it's, a parent or a sibling or whoever, being awful, being an unaliver, right? Like so that is upsetting. Cops were as somebody who's had to come to terms with people in my family and awful things that they have done, it is very hard. There is a grief there, a major grief. Cops were twice dispatched to his sister's home in Central Florida last month, once after he allegedly threatened to torch his sister's house, and once when he threatened to shoot his own family. Okay, so we're lucky that he just burned stuff down. But are we? This is what I'm saying. He could have unalived people with a pew-pew, but he unalived 30 with this fire. Look at this. So he moved back to back to Florida after he set the fire. He lived with his sister and brother-in-law where he continued a pattern of unhinged behavior. Okay. If you take nothing else from this whole video, do not let your brothers and sons move in with you. Your brother-in-laws, your son-in-laws, your stepsons, your guy friends. Don't let them move in with you. Oh my God, I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming her. I know it's a lot of pressure. We are expected to take care of these men who are losers, who won't take care of themselves, to watch over them. Please stop putting your life and your family's life, your property, your sense of security, your safety, your money, your literal life on the line to take care of these men. They are dangerous, especially, look at this. This kind of pisses me off. 2 kids were moved out of the house after this dude came home due to concerns over the alleged firebug. Arsonists, rapidly declining mental health. And again, I know, you care about them, especially if they've had mental health issues. I know this is complicated, I know. But what are his mental health issues, really? Trauma he won't deal with, probably. I'm guessing there's trauma from being a missionary's son. But then, sister's probably got plenty of trauma too. She isn't burning stuff down. But I'm telling you, they don't. This is a male violence problem. They're all getting indoctrinated into this. Okay, there's too many reports saying how they are shown it. So you please watch what your sons, even your husbands, whatever men are in your house, keep tabs on what they're watching, because they may be getting radicalized right under your nose. He allegedly threatened to shoot his brother-in-law, prompting his father to call the cops, who allegedly found a gun hidden inside the stuffed animal. So they did have a gun. God! His own family was terrified of him. But Peter out in LA, who said hi to him in the elevator, vouches he was a really nice guy. Do you see I know Peter doesn't know any different, but I need men to start listening to us about men. And I need women and everybody across gender to stop listening to men's opinion of men, like especially cis-het men. But I swear, men always underestimate the violence of men because they are not under the thumb of it. They are not alone in these houses with them. They don't know just how bad they can be, other than the ones who are just as bad or who've been victims of it. But even they have been taught to give these men the benefit of the doubt. Stop trusting them. Trust your intuition. Believe women. Multiple ones especially are saying there's a problem with this guy. There's a problem. Now this dude said he claimed that he made the threat in self-defense. It's always self-defense. Always. Even with a woman. Oh, I killed her in self-defense. Okay. And he had the gun locked in a safe, not in a plushie. Okay, whatever. Cops did not make an arrest after each visit last month. Oh, well, we can blame someone else. Shocker. A pattern of violent behavior. A family calling the cop, even the dad calling the cop on his own son. And they're like, well, we don't see a problem here. You know, his family is lucky they're not dead. The judge ordered him to be held without bail until his trial, citing mental health concerns, sporadic income, and his rocky relationship with his family members. Rocky, okay, that's one way to put it. Violent, terrifying behavior is another way to put it. Sporadic income, I mean, you might call him a hobo schedule, or I don't know what the word is when they're doing it with their family. A hobo brother, or whatever. But then look what this judge said. While there wasn't clear and convincing evidence this dude would hurt anybody, he couldn't let him go free because he's a flight risk. No evidence he would hurt anyone. He's being accused of setting a fire that he knew would kill a lot of people, and it killed 30 people. But there's no evidence he would hurt anybody, despite his own family being afraid of him, moving children out of the house, calling the cops on him, being threatened with a gun and burning the house down. There's no evidence that he would harm anybody. He wouldn't hurt a fly. The real reason he's not giving them, like, he's keeping them without bail or whatever. Bond, bail, I don't know which it is. Someone tell me. Did you make it this far? Just say bail, 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 bail in the comments. I don't know if anyone watches the deep dives very far. The reason why he didn't let him go is because he's afraid that he's going to skip the country because he's a dual citizen. He could go hide out in France. He can come over here. Great. With his parents. Instead of mooching off of his sister. He can, instead of can't move off his sister, doesn't want to go to jail, he'll come and hang out over here. That is why this man wasn't given bail. Not because, what? He could face the death penalty. I don't believe in the death penalty, but I do believe that this is like murder. This isn't arson, this is murder. Or homicide or whatever. Whatever. Someone tell me, put the difference. Look at this. The Orlando Special Assistant U.S. Attorney Rachel Lyons, maybe we say Leon here. What I don't want to do is release you, setting you up to fail. Okay. Earlier in the hearing, she described him as a financially struggling loner. Oh, sounds like an entitled white man who doesn't want to work, whose mental health declined at a time when he drifted from his closest relationship. Drifted? Okay, that's one way to put it. No one wants to fork with him. That's another way. Called the cops on him and removed children from the house because he's so unhinged and terrifying. But okay, he drifted away. He has a despondent view of the world. I might say entitled violent one. He struggles socially with many friends, having fallen out with older ones, broken up with his girlfriend, right around the time of the fire. Here we go. Y'all remember when that German dude flew a plane into a mountain? He was also a marathon runner, by the way. Remember that? Mass schmuicide? They blamed her. She had to run out of town. She got run out of town. Everyone blamed her. She had reported. Like, the dude was abusive. She tried to warn them. They didn't listen. And everyone blamed her for leaving him. And that's what drove him to do it. That's what they're doing here, y'all. Poor guy. So if they can't find a motive, trust my word, if they can't find a motive, if he doesn't tell them why he did it, they're going to blame the girlfriend. I bet. This is what they're already doing. But look at this. So she said that he was a flight risk because of his family ties to France, where he was born, the fact that his passport was missing, and that he messaged his ex-girlfriend saying he wanted to flee to Bali. Yeah, okay, that sounds like a lot of good reasons why he should not be given bail. But also, the most important part is he is a danger to people. Clearly. All he's got to do is flick a cigarette out a window and Orlando's gone too. Oh my God, shut up. He cast his eyes down and swayed back and forth in his chair, occasionally shaking his head. Like, this isn't fair when she spoke. Well, he has a history of being defensive and bratty when accused of things. Public defender said, oh my God, all of this was from the prosecutor. That wasn't even his public defender. Oh my God. Like, I thought that was what it was, but yeah, his public defender was like, yeah, he's been seeing this psychiatrist and it's taking medication because it's a mental problem, nothing else, not a male entitlement, violence, whatever. It's mental health. His attorney requested that he be released to home confinement at his sister's home. I wonder how she feels about that. Where he would be monitored until the trial, noting he didn't face any accusations of physical violence. I'm sorry. Did we read the same thing? In the very same article that talks that he threatened all of this violence. What? They said they will support him in any way they can, and that means financial and really? Okay, I thought maybe because his family had called the cops on him and, is why he got busted, that maybe they wanted to protect the public and even themselves. But no, this is what happened. The amount of chances that men get in their family. The king baby can do no wrong. Even all this, 17,000 homes, 30 people dead. I'm gonna just let him come home. We'll take care of him financially. We'll feed him. We'll make sure he gets tucked into bed every night. It's okay. And we'll definitely give him emotional support on top of all that other stuff. And his attorney said it's all circumstantial. All circumstantial. Hawthorne said that the incidents from last month, threatening to burn the house, threatening to kill your family, those weren't criminal. He has no prior arrests. He doesn't have any money because he's a hobo, loser, incel, whatever. Doesn't have enough money to go abroad, even though his family clearly enables him. Like, they definitely would never fund him. They're definitely not holding on to that passport to get him to France, where his missionary family, well, they'll forgive him there in the church. It's all will be forgiven, right? Just do whatever you want, then say I'm sorry, and then it's all good. Maybe you can become a priest too. Oh my God, I can't. That's it. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. This is enough. This is enough for me. Also, I got this shirt. It says Miss Peggy, and I'm like, does this mean like Peg? I don't know what that gesture was. Like Peg? Did they just not understand that piggy is spelled with an I? Because sometimes they spell words wrong. Other languages, like everybody does. Anyway, yeah. This poor little lonely boy, 29-year-old boy, this little brat, was struggling. He didn't mean to. Oh my God. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Please follow my Patreon if you want more travel content, lives, watch parties, meetups. I hang out with people, personal stories, all that stuff's over on Patreon. Thank you so much, Patreon people. Thank you all for watching this. Like, comment, share, boost. There's a boost button somewhere. And let me know what you think. Please leave your comments. They will be safe here. Unless they're unhinged and crazy, and then they'll be deleted. Anyway, let me know if you heard the comment song. LA, 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 you're such a beautiful and weird city. Not full of fake people like everyone says, but full of funny people who say stuff like, I wish I was a Burning Man, not. And as social media selling your stuff and cool murals all over the place and museums. This was a Tinder date, didn't work out, and also public toilets. Well, that's America, nasty toilets, dumb car, passive-aggressive stuff on your car. Or that was my friend sleeping under my car. Anyway, floods happen there too, happened twice at my place. Like literally sandbags and mold. This is Tinder in, well, United States in general. But LA, you got backyards and camping. My first job was working outside of LA. That's a whole movie about apple cutter. Anyway, dogs, those were my roommates' dogs. Wig cars, I'm sad, like this is the funniest license plate, and I kind of like it, but it's very fitting. Because all that sun kind of does make you sad sometimes.